Being a first is always very significant in that it indicates that you're doing something that has some social impact or some impact in a way that makes a statement that drives a culture forward to me. But I like to use the word positioned, because being positioned means that it's not only about yourself, but you're able to create, pathways and opportunities for others to explore and add to their collective voice. Positioning myself to almost create opportunities for others and for the culture is as important as being the first. When you think about symphonic music or as a composer, the idea of the art of orchestration is bringing things together that don't necessarily seem like they blend or mesh, or it's a mashup of different thoughts, different ideas, different concepts, different flavors, different aspects of life. So that's sort of an honor to be recognized for that. I actually went to Morgan on an accounting scholarship, and my cousin was studying vocal performance, and she said, "You gotta meet Dr. Carter." So I went over the second week of school, I believe, and he almost has this gravelly, almost like Miles Davis' voice. "Hey, you're a musician." So he asked me to play something, and I sang and played. And he said, "What in the world are you doing on the other side of campus across the bridge? If you go to Morgan, you know what that means." And from that moment, he sort of nudged me and was a rudder for me to explore again, becoming a professional musician. As a family, music was something that we just did, right? It wasn't something that someone in my tribe, specifically close to my family, pursued professionally. So it was like, okay, you play jazz or you play pop or you play in church on Sundays, but you get you a job, right? So my dad was like, okay, that's all nice and good, but make sure you pursue something that, you're going to be able to take care of yourself. And I was interviewed by what it was called the Evening Sun back then. And Dr. Carter had a quote and said that Darin is not only a musician, but he's a scholar and a composer. I see him as a composer. And at that point, I had no inkling or no impulse to compose. But he sort of had this prescient foresight, and he was clairvoyant in a sense as to what, I could be or what I could become. And to have a full circle moment, to be in a hall that Dr. Carter helped build, and to be back at Morgan with my own symphony orchestra, almost 25, 30 years later, is just an amazing journey. It's easy for us to underestimate the power of an event like this to sort of galvanize and bring us together. So I think the Met Gala is a sort of a lightning rod and one of those seminal moments for us to sort of anchor ourselves around and to continue to see its scale in a way that is inclusive, broad, and far-sweeping, that invites as many people in as possible, and that, everybody becomes sort of they trumpet the greatness of it and the opportunities inside of it, or take us to that next level as a culture, as a community.